Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, a hearty good morning to all of you on this fabulous Monday as I'm coming to you live from our Orlando studio. The great Nick Geddes from Outsider.com, or is it on3.com now?
On
Are
3.
you officially on 3 now?
They've officially shifted over to On 3, yes.
All right. Great organization there. So we get the benefit of all his tremendous knowledge this morning and all week long. So good morning to you, Nick Geddes. I've had a whirlwind. Boy, it's been about 2 or 3 weeks, just travel, events. This weekend, I'm seeing the Pro Padel Championship out at Zephyr Hills, which was amazing. Absolutely amazing. I'm sporting my Comisario tequila hat. You like this crisp white hat with the gold lettering, huh? They're one of the sponsors out there. I may have imbibed in a couple of Comisario tequilas, by the way, this weekend. Great scene out there. Daddy Yankee was out there. I'm working the mic with Daddy Yankee. I almost broke into a reggaeton rap, but I thought that would probably not be a good idea in front of Daddy Yankee. That would have turned out like me doing Caddyshack lines with Bill Murray when I had him on my radio show. That went over like a lead balloon.
I was gonna say you get a chance to be that close to Daddy Yankee. You gotta act as normal as possible. Can't ruin anything.
Because his security is on point, bro. I'm telling you, his security is he's got 2 guys. Actually, there were 3 guys there yesterday, but the one guy, his main guy, you do not want to F with him, man. In fact, the winning team, Las Vegas, it was incredible matches by all weekend long. You guys got to go watch it on YouTube, ProPatelLeague.com. Incredible matches, but at the end, they were spraying the champagne. I got a little in my eye, and Daddy Yankee was off to my left, and his security was they shut down the champagne in his direction immediately. But he was super nice to everybody. But obviously, he's if you don't know who he is, go look it up. He's got 50 million followers. He's a 5-time Latin Grammy Award winner. So it was cool to have him out there. A bunch of other celebs. So that was a great week. I've been doing that. And then I went to the Mike Evans thing on Friday. I was out playing golf with your auntie, Jane Gaddis, 1986 U.S. Open champion. And my good friend, David Comp from Bespoke & Company. We had a tremendous time. It was just a great day of golf. Saw Mike out there, chatted with him a little bit. But then on Saturday night, I went to the gala, big to-do at the Marriott Waterside, where they raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for Mike's foundation that does such great work with domestic violence victims. We heard from a lot of the kids. He sends these kids to a camp, and I wish I remembered the name of the camp. But anyway, it's a camp for kids that have been caught up in domestic abuse. And the stories that they tell and how this, they find people and they see kids that have gone through the same thing they have, and they know that they're not alone. Incredibly beneficial for these kids. So we raise money for a great cause. And I got the chance to talk to Baker Mayfield and his lovely wife, and where they are. I don't want to give away where his new house is going to be, but we lived in a certain area, very same area. And I was giving him some restaurant tips and stuff. What a nice guy, super nice guy. His wife is just a sweetheart, just absolute sweetheart. So they're settling in. Kyle Trask was at the same table. They were sitting right next to each other. So really super. I had a really fun conversation with him, and nothing about football, just all about. Although we did talk a little bit about his press conferences. I was like, you're nailing them, bro. You're doing a hell of a job. You're getting a great response out there. In case you don't know it, if you're not watching, you're probably not watching a lot of local media or whatever, but you're getting a great response. And I think you would have to agree, Nick, that he has been well received, Baker Mayfield here. I think Buck fans are embracing him in a real way, which I don't know. When the signing was made, I think there was a lot of, I don't know, I'd say 60-40 against Baker Mayfield, maybe 50-50 with Bucs fans. I think if you polled him right now, it might be 80-20. I think he's done a fantastic job.
Yeah, I think everybody is I think most people are on board Baker Mayfield, and it's because I think he showed a different side of himself in these press conferences.
Yeah.
And then I was telling you, if you saw the clip, and I'm sure it's been circulating around at the Rays game, he's over there at I think it was Friday night, I want to say, Rays and Rangers, and he's sitting there with Keefe and Tristan Wirfs, and there's just this like train of kids, like probably like 20 to 25 kids who were literally just like standing in like a line in between innings to take pictures with Baker Mayfield. You love to see that, right? When your quarterback out in the back, he's sitting, he's not in a club or anything. He's sitting like in a regular seat with everybody, right?
Yeah, he probably won't do that again.
And he took a picture with every single kid and signed autographs, did all that. It looked good. But I was just thought it was funny because maybe the greatest offensive buck of all time is sitting right there next to him.
You want a Hall of Famer's autograph, it's going to be worth something one day. And maybe
exactly.
Baker's will be too, but
I was going to say, though, we had this discussion last week about autographs. I'm like, get an autograph from the journeyman quarterback or the guy who's probably going to be getting fitted for Canton in about 15 years, you know?
Yeah.
But nobody recognized it. But to your point, though, it does show you there's a lot of excitement. He's resonating with the young people and all those things. So, so far, so good, I think, for Baker Mayfield.
Hey, shout out to Keefe and Tristan Wirfs and Baker Mayfield. But Keefe and Tristan Wirfs especially, I probably saw them at, I don't know, 10, 15 Lightning games this year. When I go out to events, they're always there. I mean, they're at most every sporting event, big event here in Tampa. They get out. They really do get out. They're enjoying. I love to see the players out in the community. You know, I love that.
Yeah.
And maybe a little backhanded shot at somebody else. But
hey,
I love
he was out in the community in France this weekend.
Of course he was. When you can hobnob with the elites. Yeah, you're out at Roland Garros hobnobbing with the elites. You know, coming down to Harbor Island. No, maybe not. But anyway, whatever. Good for him. But yeah, I love to see those guys out in the community. And there were tons of guys at the event Saturday night. I think every Buccaneer was there. Jamel Dean sported a sweet hat. Everybody was there. I could go on and mention everybody's name. So they all turned out for their teammate, and they raised a crap ton of money. And that was an awesome night. Really, really fun night and good. It's always nice to see the players out in public, you know, away from the facility and be able to interact with them. You know, I think that's where we, you know, back in the old days, we did this a lot, and, you know, we really built connections with the players. And I think it's super important, and we just don't get the opportunity to do that much anymore. The players really are discouraged from having their own radio shows. Like I used to do shows with, you know, Jeff Fain and Ernest Graham. And, you know, you sit down with a guy for a couple hours every week and you really get to know them. You know, they become part of your family, obviously Rondé as well. So, yeah. And so we don't get to see it much. So it's good to be able to get out there and mix with the people. And I think the players really enjoy it for the most part. Cause you know, there were a few autograph hounds at the Marriott, you know, the guys with the garbage bags full of stuff. And, you know, you just like, ugh, I just roll my eyes at that
feel like
stuff.
I can't speak for a player, but I feel like it would be more enjoyable to be in that setting in a one-on-one where you can kind of be yourself a little bit.
Absolutely.
And then rather than getting up on a podium and you're kind of just at everybody's mercy right now, right? And you have to stare at everybody and you have to take questions that you've heard a million times.
Yeah, much different.
Some that, you know, you have to like give a non-answer or answer it without really answering it, you know, and it probably gets so old. Like, I feel like doing it like a one-on-one, like you were just saying, would be a better medium, I feel like, for these guys. I don't know. I think that's just the way I kind of see it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then once you get a chance to build some trust with that particular athlete, then you can really get some good interviews, you know, later on down the line. And that's what, you know, as a broadcaster, it's one of the things I really, really tried to do, you know, in covering any team, is get to know the players as best you can on a personal level. And then your interactions with them, your interviews with them are going to be so much different than they would be with most other people. And I think that's what the people really want to see. So just in terms of broadcasting and doing your homework, that's part of your homework, building relationships with coaches and players, treating them fairly, not kissing their ass. We're not talking about that, but treating them fairly. Because I think once you build relationships with coaches and players and front office people, and they trust you, when you do have to criticize them, and they know that's, you know, the even-keeled ones know that criticism is part of the job, right? Then there's crazy people that are paranoid of the media, and, you know, and they get, you know, Greg Schiano, and they get all locked up in what we're doing and forget, you know, maybe you should teach your left tackle how to drop step. And, you know, you're worried about the wrong things. If you're worried about the media, that is a telltale. Dirk Cutter was Dirk Cutter was the worst at this. When he became the head coach, he got rabbit ears, man. He had to listen and read everything that everybody was saying in the media, and he, constantly trying to hide things from the media. Totally off his brand when he was a offensive coordinator. And it really, I think it derailed him. He got focused on the wrong things because he was just kind of a different cat when he was the OC. And when he became the head coach, it was just, paranoia central. So but that's part of it. And, it's just nice to see these guys getting out in the community. And another thing I don't think we say enough. We had this conversation with a couple of the players, and I was thanking them for what they're doing. And I said, I don't, it's our fault in the media probably that we don't cover enough of these events. The Bucks will send out press releases all the time about this charity event, and I'm as guilty as everybody else. We don't attend them the way we should. I try to talk about them. I try to tell everybody what they're doing, but we should be there and attend them, quite frankly. And I'm calling myself out on this. We don't do enough of it because these professional teams, what they bring to our community in terms of charity and charitable events is not talked about enough. You're talking about tens of millions of dollars between all of our teams that give back to worthy charities in our community. And some of these charities would not exist. I mean, 90% of their budget comes from some of these fundraisers that these players put on, like the Mike Evans Foundation. So it's important. It really, really is important. And I think all of our teams do a great job of getting their players out in the community. And it's a huge benefit that we don't talk about enough, quite frankly. So thanks to all of our players who do what they do, the little events that some of the guys that aren't, big money players yet are just as important as some of these huge events that Mike does as well. So, and the players constantly support each other in this too. And that's a good thing. So, good stuff. All right. What do we got here? Something just happened on our chat.
Yeah, we have confirmation. Week 6, October 15th, Bucks Lions will be the creamsicle game. It's official.
Of course, it had to be what did Boomer used to call us? The Norris division. The Norris division. Yeah, the old Lion, the Lions, and that whole what was it? Lions, Vikings,
Packers,
and Bucks. Yeah, what team doesn't belong in that division, right? But that's exactly what it should be. It should be the Lions. That's going to be a good game too. The Lions are on the come. That'll be fun. So
I gotta get my tickets.
What is that? October 15th?
As soon as possible for that. October 15th. Yeah.
Did the single game tickets just sell out already? I think they did. You better get on it.
They're probably going
in the break. All right,
I was gonna say real quick. Cheapest ticket now is $80 for a Bucks game. That's come down at least half, I'd say, from the Brady era. That's a good thing. That is a good thing.
Hey, I heard a story this weekend, and I got to tell you this. I'll leave the names out, but this is like, you want to talk about the Brady effect. So my friend did a charity event or a business event, but pre-Brady, where he got a suite, for a game. Brought in 16 clients, food, bevies, the whole nine. And it was total tally was about $16,000 for 16 people, 16 to 24 people, something like that, to rent a suite. $16,000 for one game. So he wanted to do it again last year. Similar situation. Guess the price.
What was the initial price again?
16,000. 16,000. So guess that's the old price. What's the new price? That was 2019 maybe.
I'll guess 50,000.
$96,000.
$96,000.
And people are paying it. During the Brady, people were paying it. Almost $100,000. Now, those aren't official numbers. They're not official numbers. This is just hearsay, but they come from very good sources. $96,000. Like, I don't even know. Like, come on. Who's got that kind of money?
I don't think there's a single thing on this earth that I would ever pay $96,000.
I think that might be. I will say I think that's a little upgraded of a suite. I think that was to go to a 16 to a 24 suite. So it was a bit of an upgrade.
Ooh.
So yeah, maybe, what is that? 50%? And is it?
My goodness, an $80,000 upgrade to get.
But 80.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. So yeah, prices have I don't know if prices have come down for this year, but I would imagine they have. So
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot easier to get Bucks tickets. I think the scalpers are probably back in market finally.
Back in play. Well, listen, the teams and Ticketmaster have put a stranglehold on scalpers.
Yes,
That stuff, that is, they have cornered the market on that.
I was just gonna point that out, by the way. I just said $80, $90, the cheapest ticket for this Lions game, and that's to sit like in the third level, obviously, in that corner, the worst seat in the house. I'm like 10 years ago, me and my dad were walking on the way to Raymond James like 30 minutes before the game. We bought tickets from a scalper, $90 to sit on the second row on the sideline down in the first level. That was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. So you want any inclination how things have changed, there you go.
Yeah, I wonder what overall ticket prices are, because I think everybody had to lock in for suites for the Brady era. You had to lock in, I think, at least 5 years. Yeah, at the new price. So they're going to get 2 years without Brady. But like I said, I don't think this team's winning the Super Bowl, but I love the vibe of the team, and I love the vibe. Casey did a little roundtable discussion during the event. Casey Phillips, who does a great job with all the Bucs stuff, she was there at the golf tournament as well, and you just really feel the camaraderie in this team. I know it's all esoteric and it's all this off-season stuff, but just Devin White excluded, and we'll get to him in just a second. The vibe on this team is fabulous. I just really watching the guys interact with each other. Seeing them on the field during OTAs, they've had 90% participation rate. Vita Vea has been out there a lot. Mike Evans was out there last week. Chris Godwin's been out there the whole time. This is not normal for most NFL teams, folks. It's not. And I think the fact that Brady is gone, there's more of a family team atmosphere now. And that's not anti-Brady. It is what it is. That's forced upon you when Brady comes here. All the media talks about is Brady. That's not Tom Brady's fault, right? That's the media's fault. But that's just the way that's the bad part of it, right? There's the good part, and then there's the bad part. And I think for the players, I think they're going to welcome the fact. Now, they might not be on Sunday Night Football every night, but win enough games, you'll get your national attention, right? Doesn't matter. They're going to be an underdog this year. I think they're going to be a surprise story of the league. So I think they will get their flowers at some point, but they're going to win games. And if you don't win games, you don't deserve any flowers. So whatever. But if they go out and do what I think they can do, I think they're a 9-10 win team, a division winning team, get into the tournament, get help. If you're healthy in the tournament, you got a great shot to make some waves. So I've said this many, many times. I'm bullish on this team. I like them. I like the vibe. I think it's probably going to be Baker, but if it's not Baker, that means Kyle Trask played his ass off and he's a really good quarterback and he won the job. So either way, I think this offense is going to be much better than last year's offense. And I think this defense has a chance to be really good. Again, biggest question mark, head coach and coaching staff. That's our biggest question mark. But, we got OTAs this week. We start out Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 9:30 to 11:30. So our eyes and ears, our friends at the Pewter Report will be out there. I'm trying to finagle a way where we can be out there. So we're working on that, but because I got to get my eyes on a lot of these new guys. I've not been able to see them, so I might have to take a day just to get out there and see them. But if we do that, we're going to record a show for you, so we'll have 2-hour shows all week long, so don't worry about that. Let's get to some of the comments. We're going to get into the Rays, by the way. We got lots to get to today. We're going to do the Rays. We'll do more on the Bucks. We got NBA, crazy stuff happening on the PGA Tour. Djokovic. I had some thoughts on that as well. Gets number 23. Vegas on the brink of winning another championship after they won the Pro Padel League. Their first championship for Vegas, baby. There you go. And by the way, the Vegas Padel team is partly owned by Gavin Maloof, who is a part owner of the Golden Knights. So they may be double dipping this week. So lots to get to. But I want to just hit some of our great commenters here. Jordan G says, good to see the Trop still packed on the weekends this deep into the season. Maybe the Lightning finally having an early exit in the playoff benefits another one of our sports teams for once, sadly. No, there's no question about that, Jordan. we've just seen it over the last few years. When the Lightning make the run, it's just that the Rays are an afterthought. Now, having the start that the Rays had this year, even if the Lightning were playing, I think they'd still be getting a lot of local press. Thomas Casper said at the beginning of the show, the Rays getting no national respect, as we had to watch the Yankees and the Red Sox play a snoozer last night again.
By the way, have you seen the Yankees schedule? Like, starting with this the beginning of this week and next week, their schedule. Like, they have 7 games. 7. And of their next, 10 games are all on primetime. 7. Why do I got to watch that team with no Aaron Judge? I got to watch them 7 times on Fox.
Plotting.
The same matchup, Yankees-Red Sox. Yankees-Red Sox. Come on. I watched that. I tried to watch that game yesterday. I'm here to tell you. Yankees-Red Sox is a dead rivalry. It's dead. I'm saying it right now. The Yankees-Rays is more of a rivalry. That one had no heat to it whatsoever, and I don't think it sells like MLB thinks it does.
Well, did you see the Open, Labs? I happened to watch the Open, one of the games this weekend, and it's just, it's all about the, Don Zimmer and Pedro and all the tired,
there's nothing from the last 5 years.
No, nothing
there.
Nothing there.
Personalities aren't there anymore.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. It's a great point, but they keep going back to the well, and, they probably get the ratings that they want. Are the Rays Rangers going to get good ratings? They should. They're the two most.
I'm about putting the best of the best on national TV.
None of those games were on national TV this week, right? None of the three that Rays Rangers.
No,
none of them.
The two best teams by far in baseball, and they couldn't.
No Peacock, no Apple TV, no Fubo, no
nothing.
Whatever the hell.
Didn't even lead MLB Tonight with them, by the way.
No.
Had to
be. It still had to be Yankees Red Sox. These two teams are putting up historic numbers, and they meet for a weekend series. The brothers facing off, trading lineup cards, all these great stories.
Did you see the pitching matchups this weekend?
Yeah.
The two guys who were 1-2 in AL Cy Young, McClanahan and Eovaldi pitched. Glasnow pitched. Taj pitched. All these great pitchers. Nothing.
Come on, national media. You're better than this. Lonnie Wilkins chiming in says, time for MLB to acknowledge the Rays as the head of the table officially now, as if there were any doubts. It's just all they care about is what, quote, moves their needle. What do the Rays move the needle? Well, it's like the chicken and the egg. Well, how are they going to move the needle if you never put them on national TV? How are they talking
about with the Nuggets right now? We're spending the Nuggets are about a game away, probably going to happen tonight, of winning the NBA Finals. And we've spent half the energy talking about, man, why didn't we talk about this team during the regular season? And did we underrate all these players? And it's like, it's your fault. It's your fault.
Yes.
So when you finally see the Rays play on national TV and everybody goes, oh my gosh, these guys are actually really, really good. Yeah, but you don't show them. You don't talk about them much. I think it's been a little bit better this year, but I still think like the MLB this week, they had their little power rankings come out, and for what it's worth, they put the Rangers ahead of the Rays. Like, it just made no sense. And then the Rays go out and take 2 out of 3 from the Rangers, of course, and now it'll flip-flop back. It's like, I just don't understand that one. If you can't see by now, this is the best team in baseball by, I think, a good margin, if I'm going to be honest here. I don't know what you're watching.
Yeah. The Rangers are really good, but I look at their roster and I'm saying, and yes, we are not objective in this. I'll be honest with that. I just don't see the staying power of the Rangers, right? They got tremendous offense, but I don't see the depth of pitching, and it's the pitching to defense that shows up every single night. And I think the Rays were maybe a little ragged in the Saturday game, but for the most part, they played a lot of clean games this year. They're not beating themselves on a nightly basis. They're saving runs with their defense, and we'll get into it because it was an interesting weekend. The Rays take 2 of 3. Yesterday, it was good to see Wander Franco step up with some power at first home run in a month, even though he's still hitting right around 300 and OPS over 831, on base at 358. And he's had a hit streak. He had 11-game hit streak too as well. He's just playing phenomenal. He's got 9 runs saved, I think, as far as defensive runs saved. He's at the top of his game. But yesterday, that was a big home run because they gave it up a little bit and came back to it was a 4-3 ball game, and then he posted that 3-run homer, and it's lights out. So a good weekend overall. I think we have the Wander Franco 3-run homer, do we not? Courtesy of Valley Sports Sun.
Yeah, we do have the home run from Wander, which, by the way, home run in a while. It's true. He hadn't homered since, I think, May 9th, I want to say,
Mm-hmm.
and not inside the Trop since May 2nd. So here it was, like you said, courtesy of Bally Sports Sun.
And a fly ball back into left with some carry. Grossman back, and it's gone! Home run off the bat of Franco. Wander Franco goes deep, a 3-run blast.
So that was the key hit. Also, Taylor Walls got off the schneid yesterday with a RBI double. That was good to see. I mean, this team played really well. I thought Taj had a bit of a rough go. You know, I think he got squeezed a little, had 4 walks early on Saturday. That kind of led to the 8-4 loss on Saturday. Glasnow looked good on Friday. I thought, I was watching a little bit of that, and I thought, he is pitching smoother, if that makes sense, right? His wind, it looks almost effortless. Yeah. Where I maybe he pitched that way before, I don't know, but to me it seems a little different. That maybe it's not max effort on every pitch and every fastball. He just seems like his delivery is more quiet and more relaxed, and hopefully that will lead to more longevity in terms of not getting injured again.
His fastball velocity is also down by like 2 miles per hour, I want to say, on average.
I'm okay with that.
It was last time we saw him, and it's okay. I mean, I know people were making a little bit of stink. Oh, he's walking guys a little bit. Listen.
Jesus, he just got back.
He just got back, okay? He's pitched – how many games has he pitched since 2021 in the summer? Like 4 games? Probably.
Yeah,
not many games. 4 or 5 games that he's pitched since 2021 in the summer. And we're going up against the best offense in baseball in the Rangers, and you surrender 1 hit in 6 innings? And you give me 80 what? What do you give me, 88 pitches? Efficient?
I'm spectacular.
I'm spectacular. Bravo. I mean, this weekend, we got to see what it looks like when you have a 3-game series against a really good team, and I can trot out McClanahan and Glasnow in 2 of those games. It's going to be very, very tough to beat this team, especially with this offense, by the way. But with those 2 guys, we finally got to see it. It's going to be very tough to beat them.
And by the way, the last report I saw on Rasmussen was he's not done for the year. They're still hoping to bring him back after the All-Star break or some semblance of that. I think it's still a long shot to see what happens, but I mean, that's where we're at. It would be spectacular to be able to get him back. Would it not? Yeah.
If you get Rasmussen, because they had to put Fleming to the 60-day.
Right.
They don't want to have to rely on Yanni necessarily, but they will.
Jesus, his numbers are fantastic.
Yeah, Yanni goes out there, and I feel like he does what he can. I don't think he's as effective as he used to be before the injuries. Like, he gets hard hit. If you look at his underlying, he seems like he's one of those really good luck pitchers right now, and eventually it seems like that's going to run out. So I think that's why you have to temper it a little bit with Yanni, and why the Rays, after like 5 innings, if he can give you 5, they're like, okay, that's good. That's good enough. Good job, Yanni. Now we'll get you out of the game, like they did when he pitched on, Thursday, I believe?
Yeah.
So I think that's what they're doing. But if you get Raz back, and then because Taj, you're already seeing it, Taj is going to have these up and down moments as a rookie. This was inevitable to happen.
Of course.
And I think his defense, I think there was a defensive miscue there in the 2nd inning that allowed an inning to go on.
Yep.
Where he could have gotten out of it unscathed. So that didn't help either. But still, when you have McClanahan, Glasnow, health permitting, and Eflin, I mean, you still have 3 absolute bulldogs every single time on the mound right now.
Yeah. I mean, I like where it's at, but I would like to get one more. I'd like to get one more back because you don't know if McClanahan's going to be able to keep it going through the postseason. He kind of petered out at the end of last year. Of course, he's going to get stronger every year. At some point, he's going to be able to do that. They need to manage his innings a little bit to keep him fresh. So, and we didn't really talk about Shane. Another great game for him. The Rays are 7-0 when he starts games at the Trop. He's he is unbeatable there. As from this year's numbers, not almost, he is unbeatable. So I thought he was really, really good again yesterday. It's almost commonplace now, right? He got everybody's, he gave up the 3 runs. Well, you know what? The Rangers can hit the freaking ball.
Yeah, they can.
Yeah, I
mean, it all happened. It was one sequence of the game. Right. It was literally just a 3 or 4 batter sequence where he allowed all the 3 runs.
Right.
Outside of that, Shane McClanahan was fine. Maybe he didn't have the strikeout numbers, right, that you'd like to see, but he only walked 1 guy. He settled in very nicely after that kind of blow up. I mean, he did what the best pitcher you would expect in the league to do. That's what he did. To me, he like right now, he's like in this stage where he's just battling through every start at the moment. And when I say that, I don't mean that in a negative way. It mean like maybe he doesn't have the 7 inning, 0 run, 3 hit, 10 strikeout stuff, right? But he's still able to find a way to battle and get through 6 and get through 7 and give the Rays a chance to win. That's what the best pitchers do on their days where they're not great, quote unquote. They can still give you enough to let you win the game. And that's what Shane McClanahan's doing right now.
Yeah, he retired the last 15 batters that he faced.
Exactly.
So you want to talk about getting in a groove and giving your team a chance to win. And he knows his offense is going to come back against that team, even though he never lost the lead. At 4-3, you're a little concerned. But, Wander gives you the home run that gives you the distance, and you go on to take 2 or 3 from the Rays. So before we hit the break, let's go ahead and listen to Kevin Cash post-game comments on Shane McClanahan and Wander Franco and the Rays getting this 7-3 win over the Rangers.
Your approach, especially at the beginning, again, good pitcher, that fast start.
Yeah, really good pitcher. And I said earlier that, we've seen Martin lock it in once he gets in rhythm. Not a guy that you want to get comfort on the mound. I felt like we did a really good job of right out of the gate, bases loaded, no outs to pick up the first 2 runs, worked in our favor a lot, and then we just continued to add on. Overall, really good day. Wander certainly came up with the big home run that's kind of opened the game up a little bit.
I was going to say, was it nice to see Wander get his first home run since May 9th, I believe?
Oh, I didn't know that. I mean, he's all over the base all the time. So, yeah, good for him. Congrats. He's a good player. I mean, he squares balls up. He's hitting in the gaps and stuff. So for him to get a home run, great. He's going to get plenty more.
McClanahan, 7 innings for the 3rd time in his last 5 outings. He retired the last 15 guys he faced. Just what'd you see from him today?
Another really strong performance. I mean, their offense, we talked about it as when they were coming in. They've backed it up. They've scored a lot of runs for good reason, a bunch of good hitters. Mac really competed well today and made some big pitches. The glitch in I think the 3rd inning or whatever it was, they just got to him kind of quick, but he's just showing so much poise on the mound that it doesn't phase him, doesn't rattle him. He gets through the inning and then he just kicks it to another level.
Did you talk about that comebacker there early that glanced off any part of his face, or did it just
just glove? No, thought it was hit. I think he thought it was hit a little harder than it was.
It looked like his changeup was particularly effective today. Did you notice anything?
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think that was probably the game plan coming in with the exception of Nathaniel and Seager sitting right there. He knew the changeup was going to have to play big for him, and it definitely did. And then the slider and some of the fastballs up to the lefties.
You talked about his poise. What's the difference? What do you see different in him now with having poise and maybe in the past?
Yeah, well, he did it last year, too. I mean, he was a really good pitcher, but I think just watching him not get overly frustrated, be able to, flush a bad inning, flush a pitch that he didn't like, want to execute, it doesn't carry over, and that's a sign of a really good pitcher. Your best pitchers, they release the ball. Once it's gone, they're on to the next pitch.
Seemed like he was getting stronger as he went along there, too.
Yeah, certainly felt like that. And to what Trish's point, I guess he backed that up with 15 at the end.
What happened on I think it was Semion's ball to the wall that Siri, did he just miss it when he went to pick it up?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I mean, it kind of came off the wall hot right off the top. I thought homer off the bat. Jose looked like he played it perfectly. It just, when he went to grab it, I think he tried to grab it barehanded. I'm not totally sure, and just didn't get there.
All right, there's Kevin Cash from Sunday's post game right there, courtesy of Bally Sports Sun. We thank them for that. So, Cash's demeanor is just so good, right? He's just contrast that with Aaron Boone, who just always seems like he's angry at the world. Like just.
I was going to say this too yesterday. I was watching that game. It's Aaron Boone. I'm throwing Alex Cora in there, by the way, as well.
Yeah.
These guys are whiny, man. Every game I watch, it's either Cora's out of the dugout trying to discuss something. Yesterday, I had no idea what it was. Boone's doing the same thing. I mean, last week when the Rays played the Red Sox, when Cora got ejected from the game, they show there's an account on Twitter, and it follows every pitch and umpire, and it's like the scorecard. Like, the best umpired game of the year behind home plate was the game that Alex Cora got ejected from.
He wasn't used to seeing it, so.
And he was arguing balls and strikes, and it was the best called game of the year by any umpire.
Yeah, these guys just got to find something to whine about. I know they're under pressure, but that can't help your team. when your manager, comes in every day, just wound tight as a tick, man. It just, and look the way Cashy is, is that he hadn't homered in a month? I don't care because he's playing great baseball. I don't, we're not out there going, hey, let's get a little uppercut on that swing and see if we get some more. No, keep doing what you're doing, bro. Don't change a dadgum thing. And he's playing phenomenal baseball. Yeah, and at this time, what are they, 48 and
20. And they actually, and unfortunately, I think they lost a game. I think they lost a game lead in the division because I think the Orioles got a sweep this weekend, if I'm not mistaken.
I was not paying attention to those, to be quite honest.
But still, they have a 6-game lead. And by the way, they got the Oakland A's now for what, 4 games out west. The A's, if you can believe it, are on a 5-game win streak. They just swept the Milwaukee Brewers, who I want to say were in first place when that series began. And given what I've seen with the AL Central, where like no team is over 500, the NL Central and the AL Central, we just need to go kaboom. Okay, we need to cap the teams at like 20 or something because both these divisions stink and don't deserve to have a representative in the playoffs. There's just no way. We have a team.
The All-Star game.
The Pirates lost like 11 games in a row or in first place in the NL Central, and the Twins were under 500 and got swept by the Rays, and they're in first place in the AL Central. Like, this can't happen. This cannot happen. And the Rays only have a 6-game lead.
Well, the good part about it is finally the balanced schedule, right? I mean, before the year, we said this is going to be the biggest change for the Rays is a balanced schedule. That gives them right off the top. We said that gives them 5 to 10 games right there, and it may be more this year because these other teams are so bad. It kind of boggles the mind, like how you can be this bad, especially these teams. Like, what are the Padres spending? Like $280 million, and they're 3 games under. I haven't checked lately.
Look at the Mets. The Mets are 31 and 36, and they have 3 players, Verlander, Scherzer, and Lindor, who are all playing at the under average, like they're under league average in their numbers right now, and they account for $115 million of their cap.
Yeah, that's roughly 2.5 times what the Rays are spending. That's crazy. And look at the players that the Rays are putting out there. Look at the players that they're fielding out there. It's fun to watch, man. We are loving it. All right, we'll get into some more Rays talk. We're gonna we got the Shane McClanahan interview. We'll do that in our second hour, but we got a lot more to get to. We got more Buck stuff.
And I was gonna say, some people are already mentioning it in the comments, and you said you didn't even see the story, so maybe you'll read it during break. Really, really interesting story that happened at the game on Friday night that we have to get into. Crazy story.
Absolutely. We will do that. I saw it on Twitter and like, what the hell are people talking about? It's bizarre. All right, quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about that. We got Buck stuff to get to, hockey, other NFL news, tennis, all kinds of stuff. It's the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com, and Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Back in 3.
Guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well, so do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. Have you been injured in an accident, in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, at work, or at a place of business? Well, call the Jeeves Law Group and get the personal attention that you deserve. I made the mistake many, many years ago with going with one of the bigger law firms, the national law firms. And let me tell you, getting a call back from those folks was next to impossible. Weeks and weeks would go by, never get a call back. That doesn't happen with the Jeeves Law Group. Personal attention is what they're all about. When you call the Jeeves Law Group, you will be part of the family. They will represent you in a vigorous and aggressive way against the insurance companies. These larger companies will promise bigger settlements, but it's the Jeeves Law Group that will get you the best results. If you're tired of dealing with these bigger law firms, check out the Jeeves Law Group. Go to jeeveslawgroup.com, tell them JP sent you, get a free consultation. It's the Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves has been representing clients in the Tampa Bay area for over 25 years. Give them a call. It's a free call, 727-894-2929, 727-894-2929, or go to jeeveslawgroup.com.
During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue, that's my carrier, love them, paying $800 left after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work. You save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244.
Hey, JP here for Extravaganza Productions Incorporated, EPI. You've probably seen their purple logo at so many events that you've gone to. They are based in Tampa, and for over 33 years, they've been creating and producing conferences, meetings, and special events, the biggest to the smallest. Solid reputation of delivering the best audio-visual, sound, lighting, entertainment, video production, and decor on time and on budget. I've worked with them with so many big events. The Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-style event all over Tampa Bay, from McDill to the Convention Center to USF. They did it flawlessly, made it look big and fantastic. I've worked with them on small events as well, large and small meetings and conferences, sporting events, fundraisers. If you got a fundraiser, you don't know the logistical way to pull it off, they'll take care of everything. Entertainment events, branding events, grand openings, so much more. The folks at Extravaganza Productions are the most professional and the best. I've worked with them many times. They are fantastic. You can contact them through extravaganzaproductions.com or call 813-621-4700. Extravaganza Productions, they are awesome.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. We will be having Chris Lugo on tomorrow from Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Can't do it today, so we'll get him on tomorrow with some topics. If you guys ever have any questions, health questions, workout questions, nutrition questions, Chris Lugo is the best. So just put him in our comment section. We'll save it for the time he comes around. And he was usually with us on Mondays, but he's got pushed to Tuesday, so we'll get him tomorrow. But if you need to lose weight, folks, if you're looking about testosterone therapy, which is a complete game changer, this is the place to go. Bay Area Modern Medical Center. They do everything on the cutting edge, not this old school 30, 40 years ago technology. They're doing the latest and the greatest to help you lose weight, do it safely. And if you need the testosterone, that's something that needs to be under a doctor's care. So make sure it's done the right way, something personalized for you, not a one size fits all. They do that all at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. So you mentioned this story on Friday, and Jordan G., who is also a paramedic. Thank you, Jordan, for the work you do and all the people that you work with, our first responders. So tell me a little bit about what happened. I knew there was a ball that went into the raised porch area, but then there was a commotion over there. Randy Rosarena went over there. Somebody had a heart attack, and they had to revive him there.
All right. Well, these are two separate incidents. The one you're talking
Okay.
about was yesterday. Randy scolded one down the left field line, and it landed in that little like tiki. I don't know what you call it down there near the 162 landing, that little area where everybody sits.
Right.
He scolded one in there, and like I saw it, I'm like, ooh, that hit somebody really hard. Like I could tell. And then like Dwayne Stats and BA went pretty quiet, and Randy kept looking over there, and so did the umpire. And like Randy looked like he was like he couldn't focus his entire at bat. And it sounds like I think there was somebody who had put it on Twitter that was sitting near there. It looks like it might have hit a kid,
Yeah,
and then
baby.
ricocheted off the mom, and then someone else or something like that. But it sounded like they were okay. The separate incident, and John Romano wrote this story. This happened on Friday, and this was a very serious event. Janie Morales and Ken Frey are their names, and they're a couple, I believe. And so he surprised her with tickets to the game 3 hours before the game was supposed to begin. He wanted to surprise her with Randy Land tickets, but then he found out that they were sold out, so he decided to splurge and get even better tickets, which happened to be a few feet away from the Rays dugout.
Okay.
And he suffered he went into cardiac arrest, it sounds like, on the first hitter of the game or second hitter of the game, I believe. And it sounds like what saved his life potentially was where he was sitting, because it was right there next to the Rays dugout, obviously. So everybody was able to see it, and they were able to get the Rays medical team up into the stands to help.
Oh,
and
great.
they were able to
AED advice.
Yeah, they were able to resuscitate him. And, she had a really good comment, and it was at the end here. She said we were in the right place at the right time. It was literally God's timing, is what she
Wow.
said. So it was a pretty powerful story there.
Yeah, they had the defib thing there, probably close by, and that probably saved his life. And one of our commenters, I don't know who it was, also mentioned Raheem. Probably Jordan had mentioned Raheem Morris. Raheem Morris last week saved a kid's life at a pool. I think maybe it was in Vegas or something, where he had some training with the AED, the defib thing, and he knew where to find it. Went and got it, and they used it on somebody and saved their life. And that, there's just something. I've never used one of those things. I see them all around, but I trained in CPR. I know how to do that, but I would like to know how to use the AED. In fact, I keep telling myself I need to go, Google a YouTube video just because that's going to happen probably at some time in your life. And those devices they're everywhere now, which is fantastic. But you still have to be able to access them, know how to use them, and get the job done. So that might be something that everybody should put on their to-do list, because you could probably save a life, and they're, those things are everywhere. So, kudos to Raheem Morris, the St. Pete Fire Department. Great stuff, man. We see these things happen. We have to recognize when they're literally saving people's lives all the time. So thank you, Jordan G, and all the guys that you work with and ladies that you work with, because it's comforting to know that wherever you go, and it's not like this everywhere in the world, folks, trust me, that we have these first responders that are ready to go. So good stuff. All right. Anything else on the Rays we need to get to? We'll do Shane in the second part, but I wanted to get into some of the Buccaneer stuff. Devin White showed up at a promo shoot yesterday, voluntary promo shoot. So, these are the things you see on the scoreboard during the game where they're firing up the team. You'll see them in television promos, all types of different things. They'll come up with different themes. They set up a green screen, and a bunch of the stars will come in and do their lines and do all kinds of stuff. So if he's doing that, then clearly the team and the player feels like he's going to be here this year. Now, whether or not that means he's going to be at OTAs this week, I don't know, but it seems like that's a good sign. I don't know why you would go to that and then sit out the OTAs. I don't know.
Yeah, because I watch those things all the time when they come up in the stadium, and sometimes I think to myself, man, this looks so awkward. Like, I feel like a player would probably hate to have to do this. They're probably like, oh, I got to put on this uniform. I got to put on my pads, and I got to do this cheesy little call or whatever that's going to play over the stadium all season long. And guys are probably going to rib me for it and all this stuff. So for him to actually willingly, it almost sounds like here, Or maybe the Bucks asked him and he, said, all right, I'll go, whatever. I don't know. You don't really, but it is a good sign, like you said, that he's going to be here when this season begins. I'm really hoping he's here tomorrow at mandatory OTAs, because if you show up on day one of mandatory OTAs, regardless of what's going on with the contract situation, it almost feels like we can then rest a little bit. No, we can rest a little bit, and most of the drama that was surrounding this team, which was really just focused on this, can kind of subside a little bit. That's the way I kind of feel about it.
Absolutely. I mean, this is really, a lot of teams got a lot of different things going. We'll talk about Saquon Barkley in a little bit. But this is the only drama that the Buccaneers have right now, right? Everything else is good to go. There's no, threats of retirement. There's nobody hopefully leaving camp for 11 days, not constantly fixated on their off the field issues. This is a team that's focused on being better, especially offensively. This is the main, there's, except for Devin White, he's the only distraction out there. And if he comes to camp and does what he's supposed to do, it's the only way he's going to get paid. So it's the dumbest strategy ever, I think, especially when you're in a guy in his position. I could see quarterbacks doing it, like what Kyler Murray did the other, a couple of years ago. Look, you got the organization by the balls. Let's just be honest with it. You do. They got to pay you. And in Devin White's situation, they don't got to pay you.
No, the second best linebacker on the team does not have much pull, in my opinion.
No, you don't. You don't have that kind of leverage that you think you have. And like we say, the Bucs can say all they want. We have no plans to trade Devin White. Absolutely. But we did draft your replacement. And so far, so good. Servassier Dennis has not played it down in the NFL. We're not saying he's Devin White or can play like Devin White. But early reviews are he's a damn good player. He's a great leader. He's going to be part of this team for a long, long time. He was productive in college. To get this guy in the 5th round was an absolute freaking steal. But he's still got to go out there and play. You got to go out there and play.
Well, best case scenario, though, I think best case scenario for the Bucs, right? And correct me if I'm wrong with any of this stuff, is that you get Devin back this year, right? And this is Levante's last year, we're all assuming. And it would be Servassier replacing Levante, and hopefully Devin goes out this year with a different focus, and he has a career year. And what I mean by a career year, he has the numbers every year. They always look great on paper. It's just when you watch the games, you can tell that the numbers are misleading. Maybe he's a bit better in coverage this year. Maybe he takes some strides there. Maybe he's more controlled. Now, I've been saying all along, after 4 years or whatever it's been, sometimes I feel like you are what you are.
Yeah,
but I'm painting the best case scenario. This happens, and hopefully they meet instead of the Bucs valuing him right now at the $11.7 million because they kind of have to because of the tag and the 5th-year option, and then him valuing at $20 million. Hopefully they meet somewhere in the 14 to 15 range. I think would be great, and maybe he comes to its senses that, hey, that's a good deal for me. I like being here. This team has gone to bat for me over and over and over. So it's not like they're speaking ill against me in the public or they're upset with what I'm doing publicly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he returns, and now you're paying a linebacker $15 million, and then you got a linebacker for the next 4 years on a rookie, and it's perfect. I mean, that has to be the best case scenario that you're looking for here. What's the chances that happens?
The best case scenario for me,
I know what yours is. Well, mine was for what the Bucs are thinking. I know what yours is. You would want to flip him for a 2, and you'd probably want to do the Roquan Smith trade.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll take a 2 and a 5 for him right now, especially with a team that has a high 2. I'll do that all day long, and then I don't have to pay an inside linebacker $15 million. And here's the thing: even if he goes out and has a good year, all right. So let's say, like you said, he's got holes in his game. He's not worth $15 million a year. I don't think any inside linebacker is worth $15 million. Certainly not $20 million a year. I don't think it's just not that position.
Not any of them.
I mean, Ray Lewis, yes.
Okay.
Levante David in his prime.
Yeah. The Kuechly's of the world, the Wagners in their prime.
He ain't in that class, bro. You know that, and I know that.
Correct.
He ain't even close to that class. He's been just overrated because of his high draft status and his Super Bowl accolades, which were fantastic. But what has he done lately? He's gotten beat for a lot of touchdowns, singled out by other teams in the red zone all the time, and he can't get off blocks. He's just not an elite linebacker. He's not. And everybody thinks he is. He's not. And Todd Bowles thinks he's the second best player in his defense. He knows better than I. He knows better than I.
I believe he said best player.
Yeah, he knows better than I, but that's why I told you. Top 5.
Well, that's why I told you my best case scenario. I'm speaking for what the Bucs, I think, believe. As long as Todd Bowles is the head coach, I don't think Devin White is going anywhere. They seem very. But here's the thing, though. This could be the last year for Todd Bowles.
True.
As this could be the last year for Devin White. It's the last year that right at this moment that they're paying him any money, right? So who knows? This might be a situation where things go south this year, which we've talked about. If that happens, then they're both out. I mean, I think that's the way I'd look at it, because if you're a new head coach coming in next year, I think the last thing you'd want to do as a new head coach with the Bucs, knowing that they have to continue to get their books a little better and get some breathing room, and not only that, but be able to add, I think the last thing you'd want as a new head coach is to sign a linebacker to $15, $20 million deal. So I think the dynamic changes a lot if Todd Bowles is not here, whereas if he's here, to me, it seems like he's going to go to bat for Devin White.
Yeah, and you know, if there is a new coach, it's about a 95% chance that it's going to be a offensive-minded coach, an offensive coordinator.
And they will put resources on that side of the ball.
Yes, exactly. I was looking up right now the Bucs salary cap 2023. I think an inordinate amount of these players are on the defensive side, if I'm not mistaken, as the top paid. Okay, Mike Evans at $13 million. This is base salary. Shaq at $14 million. Devin White, and by the way, Devin White, the third highest paid player on the team. Devin White at $11 million. Let me see. Yeah, $11 million. Then you got Chris Godwin, then Carlton Davis, Vita Vea. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of the top 6 are defensive guys. So yeah, it's definitely trends there. Then you got Ryan Jensen, Tristan Wirfs, Russell Gage. For some reason, Jamel Dean is way down here. I guess his is not kicked in yet, because Jamel Dean and Carlton Davis are going to be at the top of those, in the top. Where's
I'm looking at I got the same chart as you, but I think I'm looking at the
Carlton Davis. I'm sorry, it's 5th. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the cap hit, and Devin. You have Mike and Shaq Barrett, who are making over $20 million on a cap hit, and then Devin's at the 11.7, and everything else is under $10 million, including getting Levante David this year for $1.8 million against your cap.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. So, so they've got a lot of money committed to the defensive side, and frankly, they have to step up. This defense has got to be better this year, and I know the overall numbers were pretty good last year, but against the good teams, they were not good. They got spanked by Dallas. Dallas did whatever the hell they wanted to with that awful offensive coordinator that they had to get rid of. Dallas is just the dumbest team ever. They're just the dumbest team ever. Like, they have an offense that's scoring 40 points a game, and then they're going to get rid of the offensive coordinator and let Mike McCarthy call the plays. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, how stupid they can be at times. Absolutely the dumbest. Yeah.
Richie had a good point here, by the way, in these comments. He said Devin was embarrassingly thrown out of the club 3 or 4 times. I can't remember getting thrown out of the club ever happening to Shelton Quarles, D. Brooks, Hardy Levante, throw Broderick Thomas in there too. That's so true, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. If there's one guy that just doesn't fit all of this right now with the way that he's been acting, it's Devin White. Let's not forget all the social media shenanigans that he's done. I can't believe that would endear his teammates to him, but hopefully he got back in there yesterday, and everybody's feeling good, and Devin's back in the fold, and he's going to be at OTAs, and he's going to go to work, and we're not going to hear anything about the money, and he's just going to go out and play and try to go earn it. And shut me up, Devin. I mean, please go out there and show me you can get off blocks. Show me you can get out and cover. Show me you can be disciplined in the red zone. Show me all these things. I want to see it because we haven't seen it consistently in the last couple of years. That's why PFS has you ranked as one of the worst linebackers out there, and you just don't have any leverage. It's just so silly. It's so silly what's going on. I don't know who's giving you advice, but if I were you, I'd just be like, hey, come into camp and say, look, I did some things I'm sorry about, stupid social media stuff. My bad. It was immature. I'm here to be a captain of this team, to be better, to make my game better, to fill in the holes, to lead this team to a championship. Forget all the shenanigans. I'm getting paid $11 million this year, and I'm going to ball out and get a big contract. All right. Let's go, bro. I'm with you. Let's go.
I was going to ask, by the way, if he shows up to mandatory this week, how does it kind of work? Like, are the Bucs obligated to throw him up there to talk to the media to answer questions, or
No.
how does it kind of work when in the mandatory sessions?
Not obligated at all. Typically the media, now everybody in the media is going to ask for him. We saw it play out. Yeah, we saw it play out in the regular season. And I was standing right there when the whole conversation was going down in the locker room. Yeah. That was after the Sapp Twitter thing, right? And he came out and did the quasi statement apology or whatever, or comment on it. And then, all the media was in there on a Wednesday waiting to get Devin White. Now they have a step and repeat thing that has all the logos on it that they bring some players over that everybody wants to talk to, what we lovingly call the gangbang. And then so he was over there. I think it was Kevin O'Donnell from Fox went over to try to get an interview with him. And he's like, nah. And Kevin's like, come on, man. Everybody wants to hear what you got to say about Sapp. He's like, it's not worth it, blah, blah, blah. And then I believe it was Nelson or one of the PR guys went over there and tried to talk him into it. So then he kind of reluctantly came over and met with the media. And that's kind of the way that goes. Everybody will make the requests. Everybody is going to want to talk to Devin. And then he'll decide whether he wants to talk to the media or not. I don't think he will. Because he's the guy that scrubs the social media, but doesn't want to stand in front of us mean reporters who are going to ask him mean questions, and he'll have to answer for them. I mean, if you don't have to answer for your immature behavior, do you really want to do it? No. We just assume that you just forget we did it and we move on, right? But it doesn't work that way in the big boy league. It doesn't work that way. We don't forget. We got to have answers. Why did you put up that little green heart on the Eagles Instagram page? Why did you make that statement about taking care of your own? Why did you, all this other stupid social media, middle school stuff? You got to answer questions for it. What are you going to say? Oh, well, I was just upset about my contract. I mean, I wish you would just come out, step up. We're just reporters.
I like people I like people who are just honest and refreshing. And, that's why I had told you about that whole Saquon thing, because I thought it had some juxtaposition.
Yeah, bring that up. Let's talk about that now.
I thought it was good to bring it up because that's kind of a contract situation that I think has flown under the radar. He has not signed his franchise tag. He has not done that yet. And obviously we're at June 12th now. I believe they have until July 17th to get something done long term. And he spoke pretty candidly about this and said that he will contemplate sitting out the season a la Le'Veon Bell if they do not come to an agreement by July 17th. And he kind of called out the NFL, and he mentioned Tony Pollard by name and Josh Jacobs by name, that he believes the NFL is doing this as a whole plan to franchise tag every running back to make it to where they don't hit free agency and they can cap their salaries at $10 million or lower. And he's not wrong, is he? He's not wrong by that thinking. No. But again, as you mentioned to me when I brought this up to you, they agreed to it, number one.
CBA.
And number two, is it not a smart move? It's a very smart move. There is to me, a winning team, and when I mean winning team, I'm talking about Super Bowl level, typically is not paying a running back north of $10 million.
No.
It's just not happening. I mean, the Chiefs just got it done with the 7th round guy out of Rutgers, Pacheco. Right?
When is I'm trying to remember this because there's some crazy stat. Maybe intern Nick can look this up. When is the last time a leading rusher won the Super Bowl? Like, I think you got to go back to Emmitt Smith, if I'm not mistaken. Like in the 90s, one of the Cowboys teams. The last time a leading rusher won a Super Bowl. I may be bitten the ass on this because I remember seeing a stat a few years ago where it was just, it's been forever since that happened. So, and here's the other thing. According to the Post,
Terrell Davis.
Yeah. What is that? 98?
Did they win it in 98, right?
2001. Yeah.
Yeah, 98. And then Sean Alexander, 2005, Seattle got to the Super Bowl and lost. And I believe he's the last one of his team to get to the Super Bowl.
There you go. And then as far as a running back making a lot of money, it may have never happened. You'd probably have to go back to those two guys. So it's a different game now. And this just boggles my mind. The Post reported that Saquon Barkley rejected a deal that would have paid him $14 million annually. Dude,
that's just bad judgment by him.
Wake up and read the room, man. Look, I know you're a great player, although the one of the rankings had you at the 6th best running back, which I don't think is out of whack. $14 million. Running backs don't make that anymore, bro. It's a different game.
That would have made him the 3rd highest running back in the league behind Christian McCaffrey and Alvin Kamara, by the way.
And you want to sit out a year
with a torn and has injury issues in the past, a torn ACL, not available. Damn good when he's out there, not taking that away. But and also he's not. What is he? 26?
Yeah,
I want to say he's 26 right now. He's not. It's not like he's like 23 or 24. Like he's already like entering the last stage, unfortunately, of his peak.
Yeah. And again, don't complain about the system because your players' union ratified it. So don't complain about how the system works against running backs. That's just the way it is. And the bottom line is, running backs are their own worst enemies because good ones come out, like you said, Pacheco in the 7th round. You can get good ones that come out of nowhere because you know why? Because normally the best athlete plays running back. Go back to the best players, the best athletes on the team. A lot of them are running backs. They're when you talk about a combination of speed, size, power, elusiveness, balance, the running backs are the best. And unfortunately, they get contacted the most. So, you've got a lot of bad things working for you here, Saquon, in terms of longevity. Number one, you're a big dude. You're 235 pounds, right? You run hard. You take a lot of punishment. And that's to your credit. You run hard. You're a great player and you play hard. But that's it. In the end, it's really a deficit for you because you're not going to last in this league. It's a gladiator sport. It sucks for you. It does. But, no one wants to say this out loud because it's disrespectful and inhumane in a lot of ways. And I don't mean this in a literal sense, but I think general managers look at running backs as disposable commodities. Use them up for the first 5 years you got them under contract and then move on because they're not worth keeping. They break down in that second contract. Look at Ezekiel Elliott. Show me 1 second contract for a running back that you would say ended up to be a good deal for the team. I can't remember any of them.
Well,
maybe Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson, always the outlier.
Yes, I was going to say in the current game. I mean, Derrick Henry is on a good deal right now.
Yeah,
but even his is not outrageous. Like his cap hit, I believe is, I want to say it's like 12.5 or something like that right now. His salary
for his production, that's fine.
His production and the fact that he's like almost the outlier in the modern game because he carries the offense. I mean, no pun intended. They run through him. Obviously, that offense does. They go through him, so he's a little bit of the outlier there. When it comes to that. But McCaffrey has had injuries. He was great last year, and he fits like a glove in San Francisco. But Kamara, I'd argue, hasn't been great.
Nope.
On the second half, especially since Drew Brees is gone. Yep. Especially since Drew Brees has been gone there. I think the Bengals are feeling it with Joe Mixon right now.
Yeah.
The Packers eventually are going to feel it with Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
I'm going to say. Yeah, I and that's kind of I just named right there the running backs right now who are on those second contracts. Again, there's not many of them. There's legit 6 running backs in the NFL right now. McCaffrey, Kamara, Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones. 6 running backs who are working on one of those larger contracts right now. Everybody else is on a tag or way underneath that.
Yeah, and you see anybody running after Ezekiel Elliott right now?
No, and this is why Dalvin Cook, he said that he's not going to take a deal that's like $4 or $5 million. He wants to cash out, but I love Dalvin Cook. I know you do as well, but again, injury history, very physical brand of football he plays in, 27 years old. I just don't see it, especially if he wants to win as well. I just do not see a team. He might be sitting there for a while until he comes down a little bit.
It's not to say he hasn't been. I mean, who's been the best running back in the past 6 years? I would have to look at the numbers, but I would have to say that
generally Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook, McCaffrey, Kamara, I think Chubb. I think those are probably the 5.
Yeah.
In some order.
And the kid in San Diego, from touchdown perspective, obviously I can forget his name.
Eckler.
Yeah.
Who also has a gripe. He's also in the middle of a gripe right now where he's like, there's like 20 guys on our team that are getting paid more than I am. And last time I checked, I'm doing this. And it's like, I understand you're not lying, but again, nobody's paying you, bro, over that much money. It's not happening.
Yeah, it's just the way the game goes. It's just it's crappy for running backs right now. And with the rules the way they are, it's a passing league. And you guys just aren't as important as you used to be. So sucks for you.
So what you're telling me,
read the room.
What you're telling me is you hate the Bijan Robinson pick, is what you're telling me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, rookie running backs they're okay. You get 5 years, you get their best 5 years.
Yeah. We got a young quarterback. It seems like a good fit.
Yeah. When you're in a situation like that and he's that good and he's transcendent and he's, you got to be one of those guys that I put in the Dalvin Cook category. And I don't know if Bijan Robinson is that guy. I don't know. Everybody says he is. Everybody said that about Saquon Barkley. He's going to be the greatest running back in the history of the league. Injuries, whatever. So I'm not quite there on B. I'm not saying it's not going to happen for Bijan, but I'm a let's see it kind of guy. I thought Dalvin Cook, I watched him play behind some awful offensive lines and run for 250 yards against Miami multiple times with nobody blocking for him. And I'm like, this dude is special, Bucks. You better take him. Oh, no. OJ Howard looks like a good pick. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sorry for you, Saquon and Dalvin. Great guys, great players. You play hard. But, read the room, guys. Read the room. If you want to play in this league, you're not going to get as much money, but you're not going to get any more money playing tennis or golf. All right? You ain't making this money anywhere else. So get the best deal you can, ball out, and just keep being productive. That's the way running backs get paid in the later years, right? Like Adrian Peterson. Just keep running. They'll give you 4, 5, 6 million on 1-year deals. Just keep running. And by the end of your career, if you're lucky to stay healthy, you might have a 12-year career and make over $120 million. That's the best you can hope for. You're not getting the wide receiver deals. You're not getting the quarterback deals. You're not even getting the edge rusher deals. You're not getting them. You're replaceable. You're replaceable. That's the way the teams look at you. I don't mean to be mean, but that's your life as an NFL running back.
Yeah, and that's unless you do multiple things that are great, like a McCaffrey, where the guy could get 1,000 receiving yards if he wanted to. I think he did it already once in his career. He can give you 2,000 scrimmage yards, and then he's worth that price tag.
Yeah. But not for long term. Like I even McCaffrey, I wouldn't have given a second contract to.
But they're also
breaking down now.
That's true, but like situation based, San Francisco is not paying anything towards their quarterback right now.
Right.
So then it's very situational based. When you're not paying the quarterback, you can afford to have that luxury.
Absolutely, it's part of the game. Got to get bang for the buck. All right, we'll take another break. We'll come back on the other side. We'll get to the NBA, the NHL, as well as the finals continue. It looks like the Nuggets and the Knights are prohibitive favorites to win, so we'll get to that. Magic in the PGA world yesterday, as if we need to talk. Let's talk about something on the course for once. All right, quick break. Back in 3. Stay with us.
This is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. TrueBody offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on TrueBody and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com. Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation: home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to italianoinsurance.com.
During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue. That's my carrier. Love them. Paying $800 left after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work. You save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244.
Hey, JP here for Extravaganza Productions Incorporated, EPI. You've probably seen their purple logo at so many events that you've gone to. They are based in Tampa. And for over 33 years, they've been creating and producing conferences, meetings, and special events, the biggest to the smallest. Solid reputation of delivering the best audio-visual, sound, lighting, entertainment, video production, and decor on time and on budget. I've worked with them with so many big events. The Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-style event all over Tampa Bay, from McDill to the Convention Center to USF. They did it flawlessly, made it look big and fantastic. I've worked with them on small events as well, large and small meetings and conferences, sporting events, fundraisers. If you got a fundraiser, you don't know the logistical way to pull it off, they'll take care of everything. Entertainment events, branding events, grand openings, so much more. The folks at Extravaganza Productions are the most professional and the best. I've worked with them many times. They are fantastic. You can contact them through extravaganzaproductions.com or call 813-621-4700. Extravaganza Productions, they are awesome.
Let's go. Right now. Back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back on this Monday to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Extravaganza Productions. Our great friends over there, Paul Thomason and his crew, did all the production work for the Pro Padel tournament this past 6 weeks out in Zephyr Hills. Did a phenomenal job, absolutely professional setup as usual. His team is A quality on every level. And if you have a business meeting or a charity event or just a small event that you want real professional production for and creative solutions, they have a huge warehouse full of props, everything from a Game of Thrones throne to humongous footballs, or so whatever you need, they have it in that humongous warehouse of theirs. So go to extravaganzaproductions.com, and they will have a free meeting with you to go over creative ideas for your event. And tell you what they can do for you. So it's free call. So if you got an event, find out what it costs to get it done the right way. And that's Extravaganza Productions Incorporated.
Can I tell you real quick, honestly, about an event I went to this weekend, by the way?
Yes, please do.
I was up in Orlando on Saturday. Me and Casey went to the Brooks and Dunn concert, which was fantastic at Amway. But I had to say this today. Orlando, and if you listen to the show, even though I went to school over there, I despise that city, and it was amplified after what I had to deal with on Saturday. Let me just tell you this real quick. So I get over there, and we got over there probably about an hour and a half before like the openers and all that.
Right.
Like Geico Garage is sold out completely already because there's an Orlando City game going on as well. So It's like mayhem right there. A lot of people. And they're charging like $40 to park at all these lots that are like kind of nearby. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. Nope.
No.
So I found a parking garage that was $20, and it's like right down the road from Amway. It's not like probably like a 5-minute walk. And it has a sign, and it says all major credit cards accepted. This is a parking garage, by the way.
Right.
I get up in line, and I give the lady my card, and she goes, "Oh, we only take cash." And I'm like, well, the sign says we only take cash. Now, have you ever heard of a parking garage that only takes cash?
No.
Ever heard of that one before?
No.
Yeah. Could not comprehend this. Now, mind you,
did it look like a professional setup? Like, was it the city garage?
Yeah, it was one of the city garages. Literally right there next to kind of like 5-minute walk down the street from Amway, literally. And so, mind you, we're like minutes away from one of those typical Florida thunderstorms. Like, I don't know if people here in Tampa got it that day, but the lightning was freaking insane. Yeah. It was insane, and the thunder, it was really just getting really bad. And I'm trying to find anywhere that takes card. Every place only took cash, and I'm like, who carries around cash anymore? Like, this didn't make any sense to me. I'm like, how are we parking? And then I finally find another one that says all credit cards accepted, and it was $20, and it was a little bit further down the street. And I pull into the guy, and I'm like, do you take card? And he's like, yeah, go see the guy down there. So I park, and I go see the guy, and his little machine is not working anymore. Obviously.
Free parking.
And eventually I told the guy, I said, listen, you are the only, and he's trying to tell me, he's like, you have cash or anything? Like, we take cash. And I said, buddy, you are the only lot that told me they'd take card. Okay. Yeah, and now your machine's not working. So he told me, he goes, you know what? Go ahead and Venmo me, and then I'll send it over to the people. And I was like, okay.
What?
So eventually I got it. But I mean, I spent like 30 minutes like trying to find parking like that because nobody took card. I'm like, what are we doing? Orlando.
That's so Orlando, though. That's so Orlando, right? It's like their stadium, Camping World Stadium. You know, it kind of looks nice from the outside. You get in it, it looks like a state fair. You know, it's all temporary concession places. The bathrooms are awful. The premium seating is less than premium. I mean, it's bargain basement, right? It's just not. It ain't Raymond James Stadium. Let's just put that. It ain't freaking close to Raymond James Stadium. And that's just Orlando. They're just second rate. Like, the Orlando Dreamer. I love Pat Williams. I love him to death. But I've heard some ramblings that maybe Stu Sternberg may have had a little something to do with that announcement. I'll just leave it at that. Because Pat had no financing, had nothing from the public, from the mayor or anybody else. In fact, when they were asked, they were like, yeah, we're really not going to give $1 billion for baseball. We got so many other things we're going to do with that money. So yeah, didn't have an owner, doesn't have an ownership group to pay the $2.5 billion. And then suddenly there's another player in the game. That might not have anything to put pressure on St. Petersburg or Hillsborough to come up with more money, would it? Would it? That's very odd, isn't it? Very odd.
I knew the gears in your head would start spinning before it was over with.
It's just when I heard the story, I was like, that makes total sense.
Well,
makes total sense. Whatever.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
My point of my story, Orlando sucks.
Orlando sucks. They ain't having a baseball team. They can't do anything big time in terms of events. And when Messi comes to Orlando City, it's going to be messy. Like, it's going to be a disaster. Like, I wouldn't even want to try to buy a ticket there, to be quite honest, because they can't handle that. That's the other thing with this is a totally separate show. We should do this. What is, like, these teams aren't ready for this. Like, Miami's still playing in that Lockhart Stadium erector set thing.
They have their own stadium in Fort Lauderdale, I believe.
Yeah, Fort Lauderdale. It's the old Lockhart Stadium.
They couldn't work it out in Miami, I guess.
Yeah, it's the old Lockhart Stadium. Like, I thought maybe when Messi's coming, they're going to move it to Hard Rock.
There's actually
Hard Rock.
There's a bigger issue at hand here. A lot of some of these teams in the MLS play in stadiums that are artificial turf. And I believe I was listening to somebody, like, I don't think Messi is going to play on artificial turf. I think there's like a real thing to this, because I remember I was listening on Sirius XM, and they were actually having a chat about this. Like, the New England Revolution, I guess they play in Gillette. I think they have so much problems getting their own arena or stadium, rather.
Right.
And the fans were calling in. They're like, he's never going to play over here on this turf. And that's why I guess they can't get players to play for that team. So I'm curious if that's going to be a big thing, because players do not like playing on. I mean, football players don't like doing it. Of course, soccer players don't like doing it.
Atlanta plays in the Georgia Dome, so they're on artificial turf.
Yeah, I heard about that. I hadn't even really considered that, if that's going to end up being a thing.
Yeah, it's going to end up being a lot of
American soccer. We do turf a lot.
Does Hard Rock Stadium have turf or grass? They have grass.
That's grass.
That's grass. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, my immediate thought was, is Miami going to play in Hard Rock Stadium now that Messi is there? Why would they not? Why they build their stadium, which I think their new stadium is going to be. Yeah, I think the new stadium is going to be near the airport, Miami Airport, the new Beckham thing. So while they build that stadium, is Messi even going to be playing on the team when that stadium gets built? I don't know. I haven't really looked at the timeline.
You wouldn't think.
I mean, that Lockhart, do they still call it Lockhart Stadium? I don't know. I'm completely ignorant on this, but that's what Nick was telling me last week, that intern Nick, that they still play there. Messi can't play there. It's like, what, 20,000? If that? They could fill Hard Rock. Easy.
Yeah.
It's every home game.
Yeah, it's called DRV P&K Stadium, whatever that means. And it's the old Lockhart, and it's only 18,000 seats. Mind you, this guy played in Camp Nou, which was like probably close to 100,000 if I had to bet.
Right. Come on. Something about this is just bizarre and weird. Something's weird about this. You know what? A young John Peterson played football on that field multiple times in high school. Messi should not ever play an athletic event where I played, ever, in any way, shape, or form. No, those grounds should not. His feet, his magical feet, should not touch the same turf. And I realize it's not the same turf, but it should not be on the same grounds that a bunch of hacks like me played high school football in 18,000 erector set seat stadium. That's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous to see Messi in playing in a venue like that. And that's his home stadium? Come on, what are we doing?
Yeah, I literally just looked it up. It's a real thing. Messi does not prefer to play on turf whatsoever. So this could end up being... Yeah, and I'm curious to see if this will end up being a problem for MLS now. Like, what if he just, because he has pretty much pulled to say, listen, I'm not playing on turf, right?
Yeah.
So that's going to be, that might be a little messy, obviously.
And you will be able to, like, with what you will be able to charge for those tickets for him coming to your home venue, you will be able to change out the turf and put down natural grass for one game, and it would be worth it. If you want to go back to your old turf, fine. But it would be, with the amount of economic impact. Some of the numbers you were telling me last week about this were just ridiculous. Like how many season tickets were sold, how many, the Apple shares and everything else.
Yes, yeah, it's crazy. He's going to make so much money that it would, like I said on Friday's show, it's going to kind of loosen that gap a little bit of what he would have gotten if he would have stayed in Europe or have gone to Saudi. He's going to make, and this is also the David Beckham deal. I don't know if I mentioned this when you were on air. David Beckham, when he signed a deal in 2007, he was given an option in his contract to buy an expansion team for $25 million. And he exercised that on Inter Miami and landed Messi. So this is still kind of David Beckham impact, huge right here, obviously. But I wonder if Messi, I'm not sure if he has the same kind of deal set up to where he can get an expansion team for $25 million.
Not for $25 million.
It's going to be a lot more, obviously. But
what are MLS teams valued at now?
Well, I'm pretty sure Inter Miami is now valued, I think, $1 billion. I want to say, because they were $500 million, I think, before Messi, and now they've straight up doubled that when he came over.
Really? Let me see here. Los Angeles FC is worth $1 billion. The Galaxy's worth $925. Atlanta United's worth $850. So that's it. So 25. He got to buy a team for $25 million.
Yeah, he was given that. That option in his contract. Yeah, that might have changed because obviously that was 2007 when the league was still very in its infancy.
Oh yeah, obviously. Yeah.
So I'm sure maybe that changed when he ended up buying Inter Miami in 2019. Probably, but I just know that was in his initial deal.
The lowest level team is the Colorado Rapids at $350, and CF Montreal at $375, Dallas at $400. Where's Miami's up to $600 now.
That was before Messi's deal. The projection is that this is going to take them to the top now. They're going to be worth the most of any MLS team.
Yeah, so the Los Angeles Football Club is the only one that's valued at $1 billion. So, yeah, interesting. $25 million. I guess Beckham made a little money on that deal.
Hey, by the way, just on the note real quick, because we were on the stadium talks, I wrote this story for On 3. I thought this was pretty interesting because the Jaguars are trying to find a place to play for potentially up to 3 years, starting in 2025 when they would start doing this construction. Did you see that they're meeting with Daytona International Speedway to discuss a possibility of playing there and turning that into a little bit of a quasi-football stadium?
No.
How the heck that would work? I have
no. 1,000 times no. What are we doing? No, the stands aren't. You'd have to put this field in the infield where there's structures. Where's the field going?
I have no idea how it would work. I mean, they have plenty of space. Like they can fit like 8 Yankee stadiums, I think, inside.
But the stands are, they're a good bit away from the pits. Well, not the pits, but from the infield where obviously the field would have to be. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that seems just stupid. Why wouldn't you just play at an already, perfect college football stadium?
Yeah, it was either Gainesville, Ben Hill Griffin, and Camping World are still the two that have been mentioned the most.
Why would they not go to Tallahassee? And why would that not?
Well, it wasn't mentioned. It was Gainesville or that one. Camping
World.
I
mean, Jacksonville is kind of a Gator town anyway. Maybe there's just some because Gainesville and Tallahassee are about equidistant, I would think, from Jacksonville.
They play at Gainesville. Do they sign Tebow again?
Probably. But, I got to tell you, Doak Campbell Stadium is light years ahead of Ben Hill Griffin Stadium in terms of modern amenities, just in terms of private seating, I would think. Although the Gators did build some more luxury boxes. So their luxury boxes are actually really good. And FSU has the varsity club and a couple others that are really, really good. Their premium seating now is good. But of course, FSU has the benches. They don't have individual seats. I'm trying to remember. Does Ben Hill Griffin have the individual seats and benches? Not that really matters.
I mean,
but,
the 2 times I've been there, I believe it was just regular like bench seating and not actual seats.
Yeah.
Now, it might be different parts of the stadium that are like that, but I sat both times in benches.
Yeah, well, they were just talking about, there's only 200 points of sale in Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, which is archaic. I mean, you got to have, like the Lambeau Field has 1,000 points of sale. So and I think Florida State they put a lot of money into their infrastructure as far as the around the building goes. So I think either one would be much better than Camping World Stadium. What's that, 3 hours away?
It's a little less. It's a little less than that.
From Jacksonville?
Yeah, it's a little less.
Okay.
Probably
so,
2.
I mean, to me, the best one I think would be, of course, I'm biased, would be Tallahassee. But
how far is that from Jacksonville?
I think it's 2 hours, just like Gainesville. I could be wrong.
They're all kind of in 2-hour segments away.
Yeah.
But Daytona, I guess, keeps them within an hour?
Gainesville might be a little bit closer than
it feels like
Tallahassee.
It'd be a little closer.
Yeah. But
sometimes you don't realize how much of a hike Tallahassee is. At least, obviously, from here, you never realize how much of a hike it is.
It's less than 4 hours.
I have never made it there in less than 4 hours. But then again, I don't drive like you.
You drive a covered wagon. I have a speedy car.
Machine, sorry.
Not to mention a mentality of I'm not sitting behind this car. And is it just me, or is it getting worse out there as far as drivers go? I mean, I'd see every time I get on the road, it's something else. And people are crazy out there. Like you think I'm a crazy driver? I saw this week alone, I saw 3 or 4 that road rage incidents I thought were going full shotgun mode. I mean, fingers out the window, driving up on them from the back, 2 inches from their bumper, honking, just awful. I mean, people are terrible.
Especially in the morning when I drive over here to the studio, there's a lot of places where there's merging, but nobody wants to merge or allow anybody to move over. It just doesn't happen. So I hate it. Every morning I deal with the same thing.
Yeah. All right, let's hit a break here, and we'll come back and do some NHL and NBA talk, and get to also our commenters. We had a lot of comments coming in, so we want to get to those as well. We haven't talked about Djokovic yet either. What a performance by him, making history. And you're going to hear one of the most incredible shots in PGA Tour history to win an event. All that's coming up next. We're brought to you by the Golden Diamond Source. Don't forget, Father's Day is coming up this weekend, folks. They got some nice shiny watches in there, some beautiful watches that your dad or husband will love. So get on over to the Golden Diamond Source. Get him a ring, maybe necklace, bracelet. Maybe, go a little bling for him. Maybe it's not his thing, but, you never know. Get him doing something different. He might like it. Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmsted Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Back in 3.
Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation: home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz, the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com.
During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue, that's my carrier, love them, paying $800 less after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work. You save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244.
Hey, JP here for Extravaganza Productions Incorporated, EPI. You've probably seen their purple logo at so many events that you've gone to. They are based in Tampa. And for over 33 years, they've been creating and producing conferences, meetings, and special events, the biggest to the smallest. Solid reputation of delivering the best audio-visual, sound, lighting, entertainment, video production, and decor on time and on budget. I've worked with them with so many big events. The Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-style event all over Tampa Bay, from McDill to the Convention Center to USF. They did it flawlessly, made it look big and fantastic. I've worked with them on small events as well, large and small meetings and conferences, sporting events, fundraisers. If you got a fundraiser, you don't know the logistical way to pull it off, they'll take care of everything. Entertainment events, branding events, grand openings, so much more. The folks at Extravaganza Productions are the most professional and the best. I've worked with them many times. They are fantastic. You can contact them through extravaganzaproductions.com or call 813-621-4700. Extravaganza Productions, they are awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show on this Monday. A crazy weekend of activity as we're closing out these playoffs for the NHL and the NBA. Tonight, the Nuggets will get a chance to put Miami to sleep in Denver in a gentleman's sweep in 5 games, which I predicted. And I don't see any reason why that's not happening. The only outlier in this series so far has been Miami's 49% shooting from 3 that got them the game. What was that, game 3 win or game 2 win? That's it. Yeah, that's it. And I think clearly the Nuggets are the better team, top to bottom. I just don't think Jimmy Butler has enough help, enough shooters, enough size to combat this machine that is the Denver Nuggets. They've got the best overall player in the game, maybe the 2 best overall players. You can argue Butler versus Murray, whatever, but it's a team game. It's a team game, and Mike Malone has this team playing. And I love the way he challenged his team publicly for their piss poor effort in game 2 and how his team has responded. I think to me, that's what I'm going to take from this series is how these guys came together as a team and they saw their deficiencies and just ramped it up and kicked Miami's ass. I just don't think they have an answer for the Nuggets, and them playing at home tonight at altitude. I think this one is over, my friend. What do you think?
I would have to agree. It just seems perfect. First, looking for their first championship in 47 years as a franchise. They get this one at home. That crowd's going to be insane tonight in Denver. You mentioned Jimmy Butler not getting enough help. I don't think Jimmy has looked like himself in this series. Whereas even in the Boston series, I don't think Jimmy played nearly as well in that series as he did in the 2 series previously. So I don't think Jimmy's been as effective, and I don't think they have the guys that are able to hold. They look like a team that almost has run out of gas. Like they exhausted everything they had to get here, and they just don't look like they have much left in the tank. Sometimes it's very easy to handicap. Denver has better players. They have the best player in the series by a pretty good margin in Jokic. And then they have guys like Aaron Gordon who dropped 27 on Friday night. Like nobody saw that coming. And Bruce Brown gives you 21 off the bench. I mean, in the game before that, it was Christian Braun who dropped 15, I think, off the bench. They just are getting it from their role players. Miami's not. It's been that easy to kind of say. I will say this, by the way, and I don't know how you feel about this, but I don't like the fact that the schedule, the way this worked out, that in an NBA Finals, we couldn't get a game on a Saturday or a Sunday. Instead, we're getting it on a Monday night, going to be very late. It seems kind of odd, no? Like, why couldn't we get this on a Sunday? That seems weird. I don't understand that one. Like, last night, I was, like, thinking we had a game, and I'm like, wait, they're playing this on Monday?
Yeah.
I thought, a weekend would be a better spot for that, but that's just a personal opinion there.
Yeah, they play the national championship game on Monday in basketball. So I don't know. Maybe there's some symmetry there. Sunday nights, Monday nights, they're going to get a huge audience. There's nothing else really going on. So, it's going to – sorry, is there some type of Raw or
of course.
WrestleMania thing going on?
Yeah, of course.
On Monday night. Monday Night Raw, yeah.
Well, yeah, we have Monday Night Raw, of course, which you can't miss that.
Of course.
We don't have the NHL finals tonight, right? They're off today. They're back at it tomorrow.
Yeah,
that was a nightmare. Both of those were on the same night.
Yeah, Vegas survived last night. They went up early, and then the Panthers came back, but Vegas survived. So they're up, 3-1 now? 3-2?
3-1.
Yeah.
Series going back to Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Man, can you imagine, if you lived in South Florida right now and you were on such a high a week ago, and imagine both of your teams losing in a final one day after the other, back to back like that.
Ouch, babe. Ouch, babe.
Didn't you say this, right? Because I remember I said that they had stolen our thunder here, and they had become the epicenter of sports again. But you said they got to win something first.
You got to win a trophy, baby.
Got to win.
I know you guys aren't super interested in the Padel championships, but so Miami was our number 1 seed. They got upset by Cancun. So once again, they're going for a championship, got to the Final Four. You're out. So Cancun advanced to play into Vegas. So Vegas goes, and they won yesterday. So they won the first PPL Cup, Vegas. So Vegas, who's co-owned by the Maloofs, who also own the Knights. So their first sports championship. This will be a nice, professional sports championship. This will be a nice little trivia question for you. Let's say, what was Las Vegas's first professional sports championship? If the Knights win tomorrow night, it won't be the Knights. It'll be the Las Vegas Smash of the Pro Padel League.
Haven't the Las Vegas Aces, didn't they just win?
Oh, yeah, you might be right. I forgot about them. My bad.
That's okay. Yeah, they did. They won last year's title.
And I can't even say men's professional because Padel is men's and women's. So, yeah. Okay, so they'll win it before the Knights. But I think Vegas has got some championships coming. I think it'll be a long time for football.
In baseball, if that ever goes through.
How about that? The A's finally think they have a home, and the only thing they won't spend money on in Vegas is a baseball stadium. Evidently, they'll put up Eiffel Towers, and Stratosphere Towers, and castles, and reinvent Venice. But a baseball stadium, no, thank you. No, thank you. We're not going to do that. I think it eventually gets done there, don't you?
If they can't strike a deal by the end of this year, which I'm going to assume they're operating on the same timeline as the Rays, kind of. So I'm just saying at the end of 2023, that feels like it has MLB taking ownership of that team eventually. If they can't get this done with this current ownership group.
Well, it's interesting. Everybody says they want a baseball team, right? Orlando Dreamers. Oh, you got any money? No. Okay, Nashville, you got any money? Well, it looks like they have money, but guess what? They're now going to build a $1.5 billion or $2 billion football stadium, covered football stadium, before they're going to build a baseball stadium. Who's paying for the baseball stadium in Nashville now?
Yeah, and Charlotte's been very quiet on that.
Charlotte's, I don't see anybody coming up with huge. You got you're going to have $2 billion for the expansion fee. And then a modern stadium right now is running, $1.2 billion? So,
yeah, and think of it like we said, it's not just the stadium. It's all about getting that entertainment complex around it as well. So it turns into being like one of those like 20-year type phase 1, phase 2, and so forth, kind of like how the Rays are proposed to do in St. Pete.
Right.
And it's a lot of money to commit for it. It just is.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. You got the audio for the winner of the RBC Canadian Open yesterday. The great Nick Taylor, Canadian, goes to a playoff on the 4th playoff hole at 18. He's got a 72-foot putt for eagle and the win. Let's listen, courtesy of CBS Sports.
Flag. Good pace. Are you serious? Oh, my goodness! Glorious and free!
The Canadian national anthem. Nice job, Tim Nance. Place is just going bananas. The security is trying to keep everybody off the green. Didn't have a very good opportunity. And was it Abraham answer?
18th green now. They just tackled Adam Hadwin, by the way, who was trying to approach his friend. Security did, not knowing that's exactly who it was. But Canada has a conquering hero.
How about that? What a bizarre situation.
First time since 1954, a Canadian has won that tournament.
Yeah, and in that fashion, and the security's trying to keep people off the green, and it's like bedlam, and here's PGA players getting tackled by security. Yeah, well, anyway. I was
going to say, the PGA Tour is completely golf in general is going crazy right now with all the off the stuff going on. We got guys making 72-foot putts to win. We got guys getting tackled on the green. They're just trying to celebrate with champagne. I mean, what is this? Is like Happy Gilmore, like playing out in real life. It really is. Like golf is all of a sudden super fun.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And I just before the show, I was reading this piece by Mark Schlabach on ESPN about how this deal came together between the PGA Tour and Live Golf and the DP World Tour. It's an amazing story, and the focal point is Jimmy Dunn, who was on the PGA Tour board of directors, has also been a figure. He's Tom Brady calls him one of his biggest mentors. He knows everybody in the world. And what's really interesting about him brokering a deal with the Saudis is he was a major partner in a Wall Street firm whose offices were in the World Trade Center. I mean, you cannot make this up. And his company was absolutely devastated. They lost most of their employees that day, including his closest 2 partners, to the 9/11 attacks. And here's Jimmy Dunn literally sending a WhatsApp message to the Saudis and the Sheikh, who's in charge of Live Golf, is the money man behind their private investment fund, and brokering a deal between the Saudis, the PGA Tour, the players, and the DP World Tour. I mean, think about that for a second. And Jimmy Dunn said, the people that I'm dealing with were not involved in the 9/11 attacks. And if I find out anyone was involved in the 9/11 attacks, I'll kill them myself, which is a great, that's a nice bravado thing to say. But, there's a lot of emotions on both sides of this. And, and again, if you're trying to go through your life and not deal with Saudi Arabian money, you're not going to have any success. It's everywhere, and it is influencing sports like never before. As the sports washing, we've talked a lot about that, where they're trying to put their government, their country in a much more positive light and a much more mainstream. But if you keep killing American journalists and assassinating them and treating people and women, especially, with the way you do, that doesn't, all the money in the world doesn't change the culture that you represent. So, but again, if you're going to try to do business in this world, especially in the sports world, without Saudi money, good luck, because it's everywhere. It's pervasive. It just is what it is. It's like, well, you just can't. So if you're going to, but it's Jay Monahan who invoked the 9/11 families to defend his league, and now he's jumping in bed with them. I mean, he just can't run away from that. He can't run away from that. But this story it's incredible how Jimmy Dunn put this whole thing together, and we still don't have any concrete details. I just can't believe that the way it's set up right now, Jay Monahan is going to run Live Golf. And at the end of the year, he's going to decide whether it's going to be 54 holes, team formats, et cetera, et cetera. So who the big loser in this thing is? The shark. The great white shark got eaten in this deal by Jay Monahan. And
yeah, I don't know what's going on, because he still thinks that Live Golf is going to be its own thing, and we're going to be good. And he said they're already ironing out the 2025 schedule, looking ahead. And it's you seem to be you're on an island over there, bud.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was only alerted of this whole thing, literally minutes before I can't honestly say his name. Apologies for that one. But the PIF commissioner or governor or whatever, before he went on CNBC to announce this, he literally got on the phone with Norman minutes ago to tell him. So I would say he wasn't even involved in anything.
Al Marayan, I think is how you say it.
Yeah.
Ramayan, Al Marayan. It appears by what has been reported here that Jay Monahan is going to be the CEO of this new company, which includes all the tours. And Al Ramayan, who's the money man, is going to be the director of the board of directors. So I don't know who has more power or who doesn't, but clearly Greg Norman is out. And he's going to be, and I think that's probably one of the big things and that's why Jimmy Dunn did not go to Greg Norman to get this deal done. He went to the money man and said, look, this is the issue. Greg Norman is the issue. And I think that's a smart way to play it. Too bad for Greg. But that's,
remember what Tiger said? And Tiger has been very kind of tight-lipped and very political.
I got some news on that, by the way.
Well, remember the only time he spoke on this, and he was asked, should the PGA and Live work together or discuss something? He said that Greg would have to go for that to happen. If Greg goes, then we're open for anything. And if Tiger's saying that, darn well that was going to be the belief of the PGA Tour. So that and alone, what Tiger said should tell you that Greg Norman is going to have zero involvement going forward. And that's the way it has to be. It really does. Because we said all along, he really was the bad guy, I thought, in most of this.
So listen to this little tidbit that I got. And this is coming from I'll be completely candid with you. This is coming from a bar room conversation with PGA Tour players who are very well connected. And the scuttlebutt is that Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, and Elon Musk are putting together some type of, now Tiger's already got this new golf thing going on, right?
Yeah, with Rory.
Right? And you notice how Rory's been a little quiet as well. So there is a separate company that's coming out of this merger. It's a for-profit company that has yet to be named or really been talked about. Okay. So could this be kind of the spin-off company that ends up running most of golf and the tour, backed by Elon, Tiger Woods, and Michael Jordan? How interesting would that be? And I don't know how they're going to be, but this is the scuttlebutt amongst the players that somehow this group might be that now they might become the for-profit arm of this. And isn't I remember reading an article about what they're doing, but it has to do with teams in golf, and they're playing virtual having a league. Remember?
Yeah,
they were talking about a league.
It's a virtual TGL or I think like that. It starts in 2024.
Right. Yeah. So maybe this might be a spin-off of that, so that they're connected in some way where they have all these leagues, and then they're going to have the leagues go down to the grassroots level. If you can imagine Tampa Bay owning a golf team, right? Like in the NFL, and those franchises are going to have huge values. This is what Live Golf wanted to do in some ways. These franchises are going to have huge values. They're going to draft players. They may have a draft each and every year. Everybody goes back into the pool. Who knows? And then you have there'll be local leagues based on this as well, reaching down to the golfer. This is really cool stuff, right? So I don't know how it's all going to work, but just stay tuned. There might be some type of, I just, like you say, where's Tiger been? It's hard for me to believe that he's obviously transitioning into the second part of his career that's going to involve golf in some way, right? So why not be the guy that's running the whole damn thing? Would you rather have Tiger Woods or Jay Monahan? I mean, raise your hand if you're on the Jay Monahan team. Bye-bye. So stay tuned to what's happening there. And that's coming from tour players that are talking about this. So
interesting.
Who knows? Yes. Scuttlebutt at this point. It is near scuttlebutt. But hard to imagine that this new Tiger Rory company, with all the Jimmy Dunn and Tiger Jimmy Dunn runs Seminole, the great golf course down there where Tiger plays all the time. So, they are all connected here. McIlroy and Dunn are very, very close. So stay tuned for that whole deal. I think in the end, though, it's going to be better for golf fans, which is what we all want.
Well, last thing before we get out of here, Novak Djokovic wins Roland Garros, and number 23 for him. He has cemented himself alone on that mountain, and I would venture to say he's going to be untouched, maybe forever, because I don't think there will ever be another 3 more dominant players like he did with him, Federer, and Nadal. 23 and counting, might I add, because he's still 36 years old. He's showing no signs of slowing down. He's got a chance to win all 4 this year, I think, for the first time ever, and I don't see anybody stopping him. And
barring a stupid-ass vaccine mandate here in the United States.
Well, that's the other thing. Remember that. He lost 2 majors because of that, so he could have already set the record potentially. But nevertheless, this guy is incredible. I said yesterday on Twitter, if you're making a Mount Rushmore of athletes, he has entered the conversation. Yes, by resume, but not by fans. He is the most unpopular superstar in the history of sports. The most unpopular superstar in the history of sports. That's so weird because I gravitated.
It's so weird.
I gravitated even as a kid when I was watching all these guys. I gravitated to him more so than I did Nadal.
Because you're different. You're a little different.
Okay.
Nobody loves him. Nobody. And I say that, sarcastic. I love his game. I love what he stands for. I'm a big supporter of his, but I'm just saying from a public perception, has there ever been a more dominant athlete, more universally disliked by the people in the sport and the fans of the sport?
That is true, and that's
weird.
That's even prior to all the other stuff that happened last year that made a lot of people dislike him. Even before, he was always seen as we all love Federer and Nadal, but this guy, for whatever reason, rubs us the wrong way.
He was asked about that at Roland Garros, and wow, suddenly they're cheering for you here, and he's like, yeah, suddenly they're cheering for me here.
Which why did they hate him? He talked for a long time right after
because it's not. I don't.
Well, to me.
I don't think they hate him as much as they loved Federer and Nadal. Federer and especially the French, right? And Federer owns Wimbledon. It's just he was always the redheaded stepchild. He was always the villain. He was always the villain with these guys that people loved. Well, it's so unfair to him.
And I always felt so unfair. I always felt that he was better than all of them.
Yes,
he's proved it.
We got to get. You know what? I'll get Jim Courier on this week, and we got to talk about this because I think it's a fascinating conversation. And obviously, he knows all the players, on a first name basis. All these people we're talking about, and I think he'd have a fascinating perspective on why that is in tennis. I mean, think of one athlete that's a bigger superstar in their sport that is more universally disliked than Djokovic, and it's completely unfair. But it is what it is. It's fascinating. Fascinating. All right. Great show again today, Nick. Good job. Appreciate you there. Thank you guys for listening. I know we didn't get all your comments. We love your comments. We try to work them in as much as we can, but gosh, 2 hours is not enough. It seems like, guys, each and every day, but we thank you for joining us. Please tell your friends about the show. Subscribe on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts and to our YouTube page as well. We'll be back tomorrow with more fun and frivolity. See you then.